Welcome to PHT in the Morning with your host, Pastor David Miller from the Pentecostal Holiness Tabernacle in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of PHT in the Morning with Pastor David Miller. I am Pastor Miller and we'll be your host again today. So we're honored today to have Brother Zach Cordle with us today on the program, and we're going to be just talking with him, interviewing him. And he's been preached for us yesterday, and he just preached outstanding. We just love him, appreciate him. So we're just going to be talking with him today about his ministry and how God has helped him to progress in his ministry. And I've known Brother Zach, I guess, most of your life.
Yes, sir.
And so anyhow, Brother Zach is very talented, and God has blessed him with a great ministry, singing ministry. And when he first started out, he was mainly just singing. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And was it always you, or you and Kelly?
It was mainly me and Kelly there for the majority of the time,
from the start, right?
Yeah. Kelly joined in when we was about 13, 12 and 13. That's when she started singing.
Yeah. Now, how many CDs did you and her do together?
We've done 2 together, me and her, and then our choir's done 2.
Okay. And, of course, now I have to say this. I've done 2 in the last 3 years, it's been now. And Brother Zach has sang on both of them and helped me so much. And he's been such a great blessing to us. And a lot of you all may listen to this, that you've been to what is it called, PFYC?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the Youth Fire Conference. And Brother Zach has always been instrumental in that, singing, playing music, helping direct different choirs there. So, like we said, he started out, his ministry was mainly in singing, and he's a very talented musician, a great piano player, and I know you play drums too, right?
Yes.
Is that all you play? Or?
Yeah, that's about the extent. I play the bass sometimes if there's not another bass player there, and if there is, they usually kick me off.
Yeah. And your sister Kelly, she's a very talented guitar player.
Yes, she is. She plays the flat top guitar and sings most of the time, but she's a great bass guitar player and electric guitar player.
Yes. Maybe we can get her and her husband, Brother Austin Griffiths, on here too sometime. But Brother Zach, of course, like we said, he done a lot of his ministry early on was singing and playing music, and recorded some CDs, and they're really, really good too. Great CDs. If you ever get a chance to get them, you need to. And matter of fact, I'm going to let him tell you how, if you don't see him, to get a physical CD, but he can tell you how you can get that online through iTunes. So go ahead, Brother Zach, and tell them all about that.
That's correct. You can get it on iTunes. You can search for my name, Zach Cordle, on iTunes and Google Music and Amazon. You can get it on those. Or you can search the Vanceburg Holiness Church Choir, and the choir CD will come up that way. You can type in Kelly and Zach, and our CD will come up under Kelly and Zach. If you type in Zach Cordle, it should bring up all of them, though, that I'm on, including yours.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Yeah, you know, when our first one came out, and I titled it Pastor David Miller and Zach Cordle, and the PHT Ensemble, featuring Zach Cordle. Mm-hmm. So I looked everywhere for mine. They said, it's out. I couldn't find it anywhere. But I thought, well, I'm going to type in the PHT Ensemble. Still couldn't find it. And I typed in Zach Cordle, and it came up. I said, oh, my goodness, there it is. But, hey, that was a great honor, though, because, like we said, we just love Brother Zach. And his father, of course, is the pastor of the Vanceburg Holiness Church. And Vanceburg, Kentucky, and he's a great friend of mine, and he's a great preacher and a great pastor. But I'm just thrilled that Brother Zach has taken this time to share with us on this podcast. And after we interview this with him, I want him to just take the last few minutes or several minutes, whatever we got left, and talk to you. And we're excited about him being here. So I wanted to talk to you about now after you've done a lot of this, and I'm not saying his singing, he's still a great singer. Matter of fact, when you was singing Sunday morning here, the Spirit of the Lord fell, and I didn't think he was going to get to preach because folks was rejoicing, shouting, and everybody came to the front. But then he got to preach, and my own son told me, he says, the greatest sermon I've ever heard on the resurrection. And I'm not trying to just brag on you, Brother Zach, but it was a great message. But after all of those years of just singing and playing music and recording CDs, the Lord began to deal with him in another area of ministry, and I'll let him tell you about that.
All right. Yes, sir. Well, first of all, I do want to say that it's a great honor to be here with you today.
Thank you.
And we love and appreciate Brother Dave and Sister Diane Miller. They've been great friends to us. And he's meant more to me than he'll probably ever know, and helped me throughout the years. And I really appreciate them. But I was going to tell you, when I first started singing, Sister Kathy Bailey there at Flatwoods would get me up with the choir when I was probably, I guess, about 4 years old. And I'd get up and sing, "I Choose to Be a Christian."
Wow.
And we'd sing that all the time. I don't know how often she let me do it. A lot. I remember doing it a lot. And so I always started singing there, and then moved into singing, as I got older on my own. And then Kelly joined in, and then we sung quite a bit together. And then I'd felt the call to preach for several years, and I'd talked to Dad on and off about it from the time I was probably around 14 was when I really started feeling it. And I didn't accept the call to preach until after I was married. And so I was probably, I'd say 21. I think I was 21 when I accepted the call to preach. Now, I may have just turned 22. But that's when I started preaching. And like I said, I felt the call to preach for several years, but I never would do it. Never did. I always said, Lord, I know when I'm singing, I know what to say. But when I'm getting up to preach, how am I going to know what to say? How am I going to know, what am I going to say? How am I going to get that material? And just something that always bothered me, but the Lord has always been faithful, and I knew that He would be, but it was just getting out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
I never wanted to move out of my comfort zone to get there. When I had a song, I knew the words, I knew what I was going to sing, I was comfortable there, and I didn't want to move further than that. But the Lord kept dealing with my heart, and I was standing at E-Town Youth Camp, and I had prayed about it for a long time. I hadn't really felt anything for a while. And I was standing towards the front, and I was actually holding my oldest son, and he was still, of course, a baby at that time. And I was standing there holding him at altar call, and I had my hands raised just worshiping the Lord. And He brought it real strong to my heart, to the call to preach. And it caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that. And so we got home, and I told my wife, I said, I'm going to have to go pray about some things. I said, I'm going to have to get it settled one way or the other. I've got to decide, because it was just getting so strong. And I went and prayed through on it, and went over and talked to my dad. Of course, he's my pastor, and talked to my dad, and we prayed about it. And he said, so when are you going to tell him? And I said, I'll announce it this Wednesday. And I think that was on a Monday. And we went to youth camp Tuesday night at Flatwoods, and Brother Lloyd asked all the preachers to stand, and I didn't stand up because I hadn't announced it yet. And so I went to church, our home church, Wednesday, and told the church. And then Thursday I'd come back to youth camp, and then I was a preacher after that. It wasn't Tuesday, but I was on Thursday when I went back. But that's how it started.
And I've heard Brother Zach preach many times, and A matter of fact, in our camp meeting year before last, I think it was.
Yes, sir.
Would that be?
I think that
let's
was.
see, 2019, I guess. And we have our camp meeting here at the Pentecostal Holiness Tabernacle in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's always the first Saturday of May, and then we go backwards. So like this year, it will be April 26th through April 30th. And on Monday night, it's always a youth rally. And Brother Zach preached that Monday night of our camp meeting. And you'd already preached a couple of youth services in our camp meeting.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And but it was just phenomenal. And well, I'm a Zach Cordle fan. I really mean that from my heart. And I'm a lot older than Zach. Matter of fact, I'm a lot older than his dad. And I think what's your dad, 55 maybe? Or 4?
Yeah, I think he'll be 56 this year.
Okay, 56. So I've got your dad by like 12 years. So anyway.
No. He'll be 59 this year.
59?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
No, 59.
Okay, well, I'm only 9 years older. I thought I was a lot older.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's a great friend of ours too. But we love the Cordle family, and that's a great church down there if you get the opportunity to go. And so I was telling you about our camp meeting. We'd love for anyone that's listening to come and attend our camp meeting. And it's on 2100 Springdale Road in Cincinnati, Ohio. And the zip is 45231. So that's coming up not too many weeks from now. And Brother Zach, I'm sure, is going to be here helping us.
Yes, sir.
And so we're just thrilled about that. But now I want to ask Brother Zach to tell you. So after God had called him to preach, and he's preached several places, like I said, he preached many youth rallies and many meetings and a lot for his home church. But a few years later, God opened a new chapter in his life. And, I could tell you, but I'll let him tell you what God has opened up in his life and what he's doing now.
Yes, sir. So after a couple years after I was preaching, and like I said, I've been pretty much raised at our home church there where Dad's the pastor. We started pastoring, I think, in 98. So I would have been 5 years old. Yeah. And so I just, pretty much raised there my whole life. And after I started preaching a couple years, they agreed to put me in as assistant pastor. And I was pleased to hear that there was no objections. Yeah. So I was glad that, I said, well, whatever I am, they raised me. So, yeah. But they accepted us in there as the assistant pastor, and that's where we're at now. And I tell you, I love our church. Our church people have been phenomenal. We've got a great church. The Lord has really blessed us. Like I said, Dad's been pastoring there for over 20 years now, and so just been raised there with those people. And there's probably not too many people that can say this, but I have never heard anybody say one bad word about my dad in that church. And there's probably not too many pastors' kids that can say that. I know a lot of people suffer in church trouble, but they are just great people, and they've always treated us so good and been so kind to us. Brother Jack Lewis, of course, you know him. Brother Dave is a great man, and he was my Sunday school teacher there for years. And every night after church, and even to this day, and growing up for years and years, every night after church, he'll shake my hand and he'll say, that was great singing, or that was great preaching, whatever I'd done that night.
It was good.
And he always, and there was many times it wasn't. There's many times I know it wasn't great singing or wasn't great preaching, but he's always backed us, and our whole church is filled with people like that. And they have always just been so good to us. And I feel very honored and privileged to serve there as their assistant pastor, and then under the leadership of my dad. There's nobody on this earth that I have any more confidence in than him. And, I lived with him, and so I know who he is.
Yes.
And he's the same at home as he is anywhere. And so I'm very privileged to be where I'm at, and the Lord has allowed us to be there.
Yes.
I've got 4 children, and we've got Sawyer, Tucker, Zeke, and Grace, and we've got little Heidi on the way, and she's due the first week of June.
Praise
so
God.
That'll be number 5, and it's going to be a handful for my wife. She's homeschooling, so remember her in prayer.
Yeah. I was teasing your dad. I was talking on the phone the other day, and your sister Kelly, how many children they have now?
They've got 4.
They've got 4. You've got 4.
Yes.
Was the 5th one on the way?
Yes.
I said, Brother Kurt, that's his dad's name, Kurt Cordle. And I said, Brother Kurt, if you keep having these grandbabies and they all get married and they have the same amount of kids that yours did, I said, you're going to have an automatic church. You're going to have a good church right there. And he said, I never thought of it, but it's a great idea. So, but, yeah. And are you enjoying being assistant pastor there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the opportunities. We have a radio program. And,
yes, tell them about that.
Dad does that most of the time, but I do it from time to time. And it's 104.9 FM, and it's WKKS. You can get that online, and you can listen to that every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
And you can stream that 104.9 WKKS, and it'll come up 9 o'clock a.m. Dad does that mostly, but I do it every now and again, and I really enjoy that. I enjoy preaching on the radio. It's a great ministry, and I enjoy just being there in Vanceburg. When you're in the will of God, it's peace, and it's joy. And Vanceburg's a small town. Of course, you've been there. If you've not been there, the ones that are listening, it's a very small town. There's not much to it, but I would about rather be there, I guess, as anywhere.
Yes.
And the Lord's really blessed us. We was able to build a new church about 5 years ago now, and we just added a new addition to that late 2020. Just got the new addition finished, and it's just been wonderful. The Lord's really blessed us, really helped us, and just looking to grow even more. And we have been growing, and the Lord's been blessing, and just looking forward to what God's going to do there.
Exactly. Well, tell them one more time before we go off the air how they can get your CD online. And I don't know if you feel comfortable giving them your address. If you do, if they want to get a physical copy, you can just go ahead and put that on there. So tell them.
All right. Yes. You can go online on iTunes. It's not on Apple Music, but it is on iTunes. So that's a lot of people call and they say, well, I couldn't find it on Apple Music, but it's on iTunes or Amazon and some of those. You can search for Zach Cordle, Z-A-C-H, and Cordle is C-O-R-D-L-E. And you can search my name on there, and it should bring all of them up. We're the Vanceburg Holiness Church Choir, and that'll bring it up. You can also find our choir page on Facebook and Instagram. You can go on there and message us if you want a physical copy, or you can mail us at 44 Charles Street, Vanceburg, Kentucky, and that's our church address. The zip code there is 41179. So it's 44 Charles Street, Vanceburg, Kentucky, 41179.
Yes, and I will guarantee you will enjoy it tremendously if you get one or all of their CDs. But I just want to say, Brother Zach, I appreciate so much.
I appreciate
you being here and sharing with our listeners today. And I know you've enjoyed this podcast, so I'm going to spring this on you right now. Would you be able to come back and do our Thursday podcast again?
Sure.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So thank you very much, Brother Zach, and be listening Thursday at 7 o'clock on all of our podcast sites, and we'll be once again sharing with Brother Zach Cordle. Well, we hope we've been a blessing to you today, and join us the next time on PHT in the Morning with Pastor David Miller. God bless you. Have a great rest of your day.